Rachel Zegler already destroyed Snow White once, but Disney actually thought re-releasing it for Mother's Day, as I reported, was a good idea. You see, this Rachel Zegler disaster, Snow White, flopped at the box office not only the first time, and now Rachel Zegler just embarrassed Disney and herself all over again with this Mother's Day meltdown. Now, you think that Disney would learn, but nope, this Rachel Zegler disaster exploded twice in the same year. Now, Rachel Zegler has, as you already know, officially destroyed one of the most iconic fairy tales of all time, and Disney deserves every bit of this meltdown. Now, they had every chance to go ahead and move on from this train wreck and everything, but in true fashion, I mean, let's be honest, Disney, well, they basically doubled down, proving once again that, well, they have absolutely no idea what the audience wants. Now, see, most of us figured that, Disney would have already learned their lesson after the original theatrical run of Rachel Zegler's Snow White when it face planted at the just over $200 million worldwide. Now that's nowhere near the billion plus that they needed to break even, especially after simply blowing through a mind-boggling $400 million when you factor in production as well as marketing and even all the reshoots and the other nonsense that Disney had tried to hide. Now, we all think that they also try to quietly dump it on digital, sweep it under the rug, and hope the public forgets. But absolutely not. See, Disney looked at the carnage and said, "You know what? Moms and daughters everywhere need to see this on Mother's Day, and you know what they need? They need this Rachel Zegler feminist lecture on why Snow White is outdated." I mean, that right there is pretty sad and desperate. So, yeah, here comes Disney rolling out the red carpet for a Rachel Zegler led re release of Snow White in over 1,300 screens and stuff across the country. That's not a typo right there. You heard that right. Over 1,300 theaters. They actually thought moms would be able to drag their daughters out to sit through 2 hours of Rachel Zegler simply just trashing the very story that she was supposed to bring to life. Okay, they really thought that this would be some kind of magical bonding experience, and moms and daughters coming together to watch Disney burn one of their most beloved classics and stuff to the ground. I mean, that right there is just simply unbelievable. And, of course, the results were as embarrassing as you'd expect. You see, the Snow White re release made headlines for all the wrong reasons when it pulled in a pathetic $210,000. I mean, that's it across just 1,300 theaters. I mean, if you do the math, that's simply just $160 per theater, or possibly even $50 per theater. I mean, you can't even pay the theater staff with that kind of money, and yet Disney still tried to spend this like it was some sort of win. They sent out press releases talking about how they were, quote, renewing interest in the remake. Renewing interest. You mean simply reminding everyone how badly this movie was, and it gets destroyed by the audiences every time it shows up in the headline. That's renewing interest to them. And it's sad right there because guess what? Some outlets were even spreading false numbers claiming the per theater average was $50. I mean, that's wrong. The actual number was closer to $335,000 total, which still comes to about $250 per theater. But let's not kid ourselves though. That's still a big bad meltdown right there. That's still a nightmare for any studio, let alone Disney, who once dominated the box office like no one else. Now, these theaters could have just made more money just showing literally anything else. Reruns of, older movies and stuff, even commercials, just keeping the lights off just and saving on electricity. But to add salt to the wound, I mean, the whole Richard Zegler Snow White didn't even crack the top 10. It landed in 13th place at the domestic box office, right behind, movies that actually have been out for weeks, even months and stuff. And I'll be honest, I didn't even think it would be that high. And when you actually look at the per theater averages for those other movies, 7,600, 6,000, 2,200, 1,700, it becomes crystal clear that Rachel Zegler and Disney served up one of the worst performing re releases in modern box office history. Okay. Now, honestly, there's no defending this. There's no spinning it either. You see, this here is a certified disaster. I mean, think about this for a second. Disney couldn't even beat movies pulling in $393 per theater. I mean, we're talking about the lowest of the low here, absolute rock bottom. And yet, Disney still tried to sell this as a celebration for Mother's Day. I mean, it's embarrassing. It wasn't even a celebration. It was basically, once again, a funeral. Now, the Rachel Zegler Snow White re release exploded on arrival, just simply leaving Disney scrambling to explain how they could misread the room so badly once again. So yeah, basically here we are again with this Snow White starring Rachel Zegler that's officially being yanked from theaters. Now this was their last shot, their last desperate meltdown attempt to go ahead and try to squeeze a few more dollars out of a sinking ship. Okay, and once again, they failed spectacularly. And the box office sits right at $200 million worldwide. That's it. No more excuses, no more spin. Rachel Zegler and Disney just handed the world a historic nightmare. And actually, there's no coming back from it. You see, and don't forget, this wasn't just any flop. You see, this is Marvel's another disaster, except it's worse. Why? Because Snow White cost more to make than the Marvels did, and they spent more on this than they did on the Marvel movie. Okay, and then they got destroyed even harder. Okay, now honestly, this this is the kind of failure that explodes careers. And this is the kind of failure that makes shareholders start, asking very uncomfortable questions and stuff. Well, then again, they're not because Disney would choose them and then they'll shield and everything. And it all started with Zegler opening her mouth. I mean, y'all remember that. Y'all remember all the interviews where she basically trashed the original story and stuff. And y'all remember how she just proudly, declared that Prince Charming and everything was a stalker and how this Snow White wouldn't need saving. Now, Zegler turned one of the most timeless fairy tales into a preachy, tone deaf lecture, and the audiences rejected it with every fiber of their being, okay? They simply kept their money to themselves and spent it on something much better. But Disney had a chance to course correct. They could have quietly sent this thing to streaming, just cut their losses and just simply moved on. But no, they went all in on Rachel Zegler. They stood by her for every word. They backed every insufferable press for a moment until it was time for there was till they decided at the last minute when it was too late to end it. And now they're left holding the bag for one of the biggest meltdowns in entertainment history. Now, this wasn't just a bad movie. This was basically a cultural nightmare. And let's just simply be real here. This was more than just a box office flop, okay? This should have been a wake-up call for Disney. Now, audiences are done simply just being lectured to. They're done with seeing their beloved stories gutted and repackaged as politically correct garbage and stuff. And Zegler stood on that stage, smiled for the cameras, and told the world basically that, I mean, Snow White needed to be modernized and stuff. And the world responded with laughter, mockery, and even rejection. Okay. Now, mark my words, when the final numbers come in, Rachel Zegler's Snow White might go down as basically the biggest money losing movie in Disney's history. Okay. I mean, we're talking, hundreds of millions of dollars gone, burned, wasted. And no amount of, desperate re releases or even the special editions is going to go ahead and change that. The public already spoke, and this Rachel Zegler Snow White is a failure, and Disney has no one to blame but themselves for this mess. Okay, they even tried to manufacture buzz with this whole Mother's Day promotion, but all they did was just remind everyone of how out of touch they've become. I mean, it's over. It's done. And Rachel Zegler, this movie didn't just flop; she destroyed a legacy. You see, she exploded one of Disney's crown jewels, and now they're left shifting through the ashes of their own arrogance. Okay, so yeah, where exactly does this leave us, or where does Disney go from here? I mean, honestly, I don't even think they know. They keep doubling down on projects the audiences don't want. They also keep backing, the celebrities and stuff like Rachel Zegler who have no respect for the fans. And they also keep pretending like, they're the ones that's actually holding all the cards. But in reality, they're not. The audience holds the power, and they've just destroyed Disney's latest disaster in real time. Okay. So, yeah, basically, this is Disney's wake up call. The people have had enough. No more remakes, no more lectures, no more Rachel Zegler until she actually changes her ways and stuff. So they might as well just pack it up, take the loss, and start listening to the audience that they spent the last decade ignoring, or don't. Keep going down this path and watch your empire explode into irrelevance. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button if you enjoy what shared in this video. Go ahead and also subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell for future notifications. And I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.